with almost as many ups and downs as the Williams-Mansell affair last season. But in a strange sort of way, Ayrton Senna and Ron Dennis seem right for each other, although this year the third member of their apparently eternal triangle is the new McLaren MP4-8.
Oh, I think to go quick has never been a big problem for me. You know, the biggest difficulty is really for you to understand what is happening and get to a rhythm that is consistent and feel in control of it. That's the most difficult thing when you get into a new machine, particularly when the machine is highly sophisticated and it still is not working properly. So that's the biggest difficulty. But to drive quick is not a problem. The problem is to come around the lap, you know, complete the lap. To be competitive right now, you gotta have all the things that you can have in terms of electronics. And that's what McLaren has tried and is trying to achieve. In the future, if the rules are different, then a different approach will require. But giving the actual rules, it's obvious that you need a sort of active suspension or active or electronic control suspension, transmission, engine management, and lots and lots of devices if you want to be competitive. I am, because I think when you go into this sort of electronic war, you can find yourself completely stuck at some stage if you don't have a similar level of sophistication as somebody else. And I also believe that only perhaps 2 or 3 teams can eventually have the financial resources and the technical resources to achieve those things, and everybody else, I don't think he has. And given that, I then feel that it's better not to have those devices, because you give the majority of people the ability to be nearby the leading cars. Therefore competition becomes a little closer. And you must consider that the teams that are in the middle of the field or behind, on the back of the field, they think and they hope and they dream about moving up and not only coming closer to the leaders, but perhaps at some occasions having some possibility of matching the leaders, you know. And in this circumstance, they have no chance at all. So that is also another aspect of it. And on top of that, with those electronic devices, some of them level out the drivers. You can put 2-3 different drivers in the same car, and instead of finding different style of driving style or different characteristics of controlling an engine, gear shift, upshift or downshift, different way of controlling to put the power down on the ground. The electronics do a given situation, and no matter who you put in the car, the electronics will do the work and not the driver. So I have learned that way because I have seen it happening, and I don't think that is really what you want to have a truly world championship. When you compete at a level that we have been competing over the past few years, everything becomes important. Therefore, only when you have all the ingredients at the right level, you can have a good result. And if there is an unbalanced situation somewhere, and that be anything, I mean, I don't mean only commercial, I mean in anything, then does not necessarily work. The car is too new to make any special prediction. Naturally, with the new engine, completely radically different than the Honda V12, the Ford V8, it's radically different. With the new electronic suspension than what I tried last year and year before, and so on. Aerodynamically also the car is very different. Everything is too different, and the electronics are a major part in this car. I think a major percentage in the performance in this car is coming from the electronics, which are all new because they are made by Tag Electronics. It's just too early. I can only perhaps say that even with lots of minor problems, the car runs pretty well. Even with those minor problems that are a result of being too young with too many changes at a short time. It's impossible for you to predict such a thing under the regulations that we are running, under the performance that we have seen last year from Williams comparing to everybody else. Given the fact that the team has a complete new machine with a short mileage, it's impossible to compare. There are no references that you could say, okay, looks like that there, looks like this here. It's only time can really give you the information. And today is the first day I drove the car. I've been away also 2-3 months, which it's another factor that makes life more difficult to evaluate things because your reference points get a little bit lost. And I think, honestly, given the time scale that they had, with all the uncertainties about the engine decision last year, they did a lot. They did really a lot with very short time.
Is there somewhere in your mind the thought that perhaps after the first race, Prost may be suspended and there may be a seat at Williams?
I think Prost has got his problems, and they are his problems. They're not mine, and I simply don't want to get involved.
No, but could it benefit you in the sense that the Williams may become available? Is that not a big question?
I don't want to even talk about it because that is not going to be the reason by which I will make my decision. That's for sure. Every year you get more experience, and the main thing is to keep the motivation. So I think I'm better equipped today than I was a year ago, and so on, with the experience I got.
But not everything went smoothly for Senna at Silverstone.
I never had so many spins in one single day, I think. As I was saying, I think just what I just finished saying, the car, Formula 1 car is very quick, and it takes time for you to get within it. On top of that is a brand new car for me with a brand new engine, which is radically different than the Honda in the way to drive and the way to handle. And I'm not used to it. I'm simply not used to it. I need more and more running to get the grip of these new characteristics that I found. Besides that, it's very, very cold, and that doesn't help tire grip.
This year, if he decides to drive, Senna will partner Michael Andretti, the IndyCar champion, who knows as much about Senna as Ayrton does about Andretti.
Very limited, of course. We don't really know each other. We have limited contact so far, but he's also very keen, very interested, and I think he has had lots and lots of problems so far, not getting enough mileage because he needs a lot of mileage to get used to the Formula 1 car, basically, not only McLaren, but the Formula 1 car, and the circuits and so on. And I know he has had lots of problems not getting as much mileage as I think he would like to. But on the personal side, on the limit contact we have had so far, he seems to be a very nice guy.
The other McLaren driver this year, make that possible driver, is Mika Hakkinen, who impressed at Lotus and now joins McLaren, hoping that Ayrton Senna will decide not to, or that Ron Dennis can afford to field 3 cars at every round of the championship. Hakkinen likes it at McLaren and is obviously heading in the right direction.
He has a good opportunity in his career to be part of a team as successful as McLaren. He seems to be very happy, very keen, very motivated, and
Fascinating as ever, Ayrton Senna.